This weekend was a sad day for South Africa, but it was a terrible weekend for the DA. To very quickly sum up the events that led to Saturday afternoon 3 p.m., 2 days earlier, the president of South Africa, Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa, fired Deputy Minister Andrew Whitfield for not getting permission to travel abroad. This, of course, comes amidst I would say half the cabinet of the president being absolutely marred in corruption charges. Some of them are named in the Zondo Commission. I mean, it is a cabinet of a bunch of thieves. This made the DA very, very angry. Now, I do think it's important to understand where this anger for the DA comes from. The DA originally, when Mr. Ramaphosa let Mr. Steenhuisen know that he's going to fire Mr. Whitfield, Mr. Steenhuisen was like, okay, can you just give me 24 hours so I can talk to my party, get another name so that we can get someone new, and also talk to Andrew Whitfield about what exactly happened. The president, according to Mr. Steenhuisen, said, absolutely, you can have your 24 hours. 3 hours later, the president fired the minister. This is the moment that I think ticked off the DA. They felt disrespected. And in a moment of what I now consider to be just a bit of anger and a bit of sort of ego boosting, they issued the president with a 48-hour ultimatum. At the end of that ultimatum, that's 3 p.m. Saturday, the DA announced not that they would be leaving the GNU, which is what most people expected they would do, or even that they would immediately pass a motion of no confidence against the president, but instead said that they're withdrawing from the national dialogue, an initiative that is already seen by most South Africans as useless and also incredibly wasteful. This is going to be 700 million rand, and they also won't be voting on any of the departmental budgets within the government. None of these things raised to the level of warranting an ultimatum. And I do think the DA kind of overestimated their position within the GNU. They genuinely thought that making this threat to Cyril Ramaphosa, knowing that Cyril Ramaphosa would, like everyone else, think that they're going to leave the GNU, get the president into action to fire these corrupt ministers in his cabinet. Mr. Ramaphosa, literally 24 hours after the ultimatum was issued, made it very clear, I will not be threatened. You will not demand anything. I will do whatever I want as the president. I can fire and hire whichever ministers and deputy ministers I want. And he's not wrong. The Constitution absolutely gives him that right. And then the response after the ultimatum from the DA, that really is the problem for the country. Now, I made my video on this, and you can go check that out. It's on the channel. The problem that I have with this, regardless of whether you feel we should stay in the GNU, we shouldn't, and I will have a video probably tomorrow about the GNU coalitions within South Africa and everyone sort of going on about this doomsday scenario and why I think that people are severely overestimating just how the doomsday scenario actually is. But we'll go into more detail in a separate video. For now, all you need to understand is when you're going to make a threat, right, you have to follow through on it. It has to come with the sort of level of intensity with which the threat was made. To make a threat, then realize that the guy you're threatening just doesn't care, and then you turn around and you go, anyway, that's really bad because it sends a signal to the other guy, the bully, that I can do whatever I want and it doesn't even matter. And thus far, the ANC has shown themselves to do exactly that. At every turn, they have ignored the statement of intent. That, by the way, is the contract that sort of governs how the GNU is allowed to go about by going outside it when they wanted the votes for the budget. They have ignored everything that their coalition partners have said with every single law that they've wanted to pass. Every single initiative that the ANC has wanted, they have gotten. And the same is true for the visit to the White House. Mr. Steenhuisen, even there, crumbled like a crouton. So fundamentally, every single thing the ANC wants, they just get. And they don't really care who their coalition partners are. In fact, Mr. Steenhuisen made that clear in his speech. All the promises that the president has made to the GNU, none of which have actually materialized at all. So the DA came out with egg on their face. No matter how you feel about the decision, or maybe you really cared about the GNU, it doesn't matter. But now it's gotten even worse because the DA at the ultimatum gives the president another ultimatum saying, if you don't start treating us with respect, we will do more things to you. So start treating us with respect, please. The ANC comes out and first and foremost, right, they play with the DA, saying things like, we viewed their threat in serious light, hence we had to take steps so that we are able to respond to whatever threat they're making. This might seem like it doesn't matter, but this is the equivalent of after your brother hit you when you were very little and you went, when are you hitting me? That's the equivalent of this. Sort of going, well, we were taking it seriously, but at the end of the day, nothing really happened. But then this is where it gets worse, and that's the whole point for this video. The ANC has now basically cut off the legs of the DA entirely by saying if they propose a motion of no confidence on the president, then it will mean they are out of the GNU. So the ANC has just drawn a red line, saying all of those threats that you want to make, all of those things that you think you can still bring to us, we want to make sure you understand a motion of no confidence is the same as a resignation of the GNU. So you have to understand that is our red line and we will stick to it. This gives the ANC the upper hand in any future negotiations because the DA has shown themselves incapable of leaving the GNU. They seem to hold true to this. Even if the GNU is severely dysfunctional, it's still better than not having the GNU, even if having the GNU means you're not doing any of the things that you thought you were going to be able to do within the GNU, right? So the DA will have to now make that ultimate decision regardless. So this is actually a genius move by the ANC. But then finally, and this is a pretty big story, what we're hearing now is that the MK, following the sort of threat by the DA of a motion of confidence, the MK let the DA know, yeah, we'd be with you.
We stated categorically and consistently so that the man is not fit for the job. In actual fact, we've been calling for a motion of confidence ourselves. What would be interesting to see is if we call for a motion of confidence, if the DA would vote with us. Because again, from what I heard when you listened to their presser this afternoon, it just, you can't go and give a president an ultimatum and then you come back with very cheap, shots. And I mean, quite honestly, if you look at it, it's nothing more than just scarecrow politics. And that's what the DA is doing here. They're just nothing else but scarecrows.
That's big because the DA already controls about 20% of the parliament, another 15% from the MK. That gives them 35% already. That's pretty good. And now, apparently, the MK is also in talks with the EFF to try and get the EFF to support a motion of no confidence in the president. It's not good because that would mean Paul Mashatile becomes the next president of South Africa, but that does put them at about 45%. So now they just need a couple of stragglers on the sort of outskirts to get over the 50% mark and the motion of no confidence passes. We'll see what happens. I doubt that the DA is going to pass the motion of no confidence because, as I've already explained, the ANC have drawn the red line. So if the DA, it's the same as them leaving the GNU, and the ANC has made that super clear. So fundamentally, we're going to have to see where this thing plays out, how this thing plays out. I personally think the DA made a massive blunder on Saturday, and I think they're going to pay the price for that now. And in the end, I think the days are numbered on this GNU. No matter what we do, no matter how we go, this GNU will not see the end of its term. I highly doubt that. But let me know in the comment section down below how you feel about this entire situation. Hit the like if you liked, the dislike if you didn't, and I'll see all of you in the next one. Peace.